Have you ever been triggered by one of your tarot readings? Maybe a heavy duty card comes up and it's like, oh, no, I don't want that kind of message. I'm Claire from Be Your Purpose Coaching, and today I want to talk about what happens if you're triggered by a reading. Now, the one thing I love about the tarot is how honest they are. Let's say considering our tarot guides, the tarot cards, when you ask a tarot a question, they do not hesitate to be really straightforward. They tend to bring forward what you've been pushing down, what you don't want to look at, and if you're feeling triggered by a particular card, a particular reading, it's important to know what are the steps to unpack what is that message. So I know that if I'm shuffling these cards and maybe the ten of swords come up, the devil card comes up, I've got to pretend like I didn't see it. I was just like, and maybe pull another card. But you will see progressively that if that message is important enough, you're going to continue to attract in cards that are heavy duty, want to get your attention. And, you've got to be honest with yourself. If you've asked the tarot a specific question and they give you a specific answer, it's time to understand and unpack what's going on with your resistance to hear that message. Now, sometimes the answers within the tarot will bring up a level of fear, anxiety, and if we don't actually address what's going on, what is that trigger? It tends to make our human body, start to fester, our health will decline, our energy will become depleted. So the tarot want you to be energized. Tarot want you to live a life that's magnificent. And so if you're going through particular challenges and you're not taking notice of the core reason why you're attracting those, the tarot will let you know. So let me give you an example. I had a client who the card just kept coming up of the Three of Swords. Just kept coming up, kept coming up, kept coming up, shuffling, Three of Swords, okay, more of the devil, more of the Ten of Swords, all sorts of like just heavy duty cards. And this was not the reading that she wanted to receive. She was already feeling like life had hit her pretty hard, and to get a reading like that just amplified it. But when we were able to unpack what was going on, it turned out that her partner was cheating on her. Now, on some level, she kind of already knew that, but living in the level of uncertainty was causing her headaches, sleepless nights, depleting her health. And so the tarot wanted the best for her. It was time to explore what was really going on, because this was just building up again in her health, sore throats, back pain. Her fear of being alone was so strong that she was willing to put up with being put second best, compromising in a relationship, not requiring more from herself or her partner. This particular reading probably changed her life, because once she actually worked through the trigger, she was able to raise her frequency, raise her self-worth, and manifest in a man that truly adored her. So while in that moment getting that reading was uncomfortable for her and it was uncomfortable for me, it gave us some direction on needing some coaching, needing to resolve and dissolve those fears, the stress, the uncertainty, and to be able to be okay with putting herself first. Some of this included some past life work and some soul contract work. But of course, when she was out of that lower vibration and just radiating that sense of confidence, her true soulmate could come forward and just really complement that energy that she was already radiating. So that is the power of tarot. Now, I want to offer you some questions or a process that I would facilitate taking a client through. If you were triggered by the tarot cards, I want you to notice the trigger. I actually want you to own the trigger. Don't push it away. Don't minimize it. Don't try to ignore it, because again, that's just going to make your health fester. It'll deplete your energy. I want you to own the trigger. because holding on to the triggers is like being a remote control and everybody pushing your buttons. We come here to this planet, to planet Earth, the school of polarity, time and space, to experience some of those heavier emotions. When we're in the spirit world, before we come to this earth, we're part of a soul family. And in that soul family, you know, we're experiencing the spirit world where there's love, joy, peace. But of course, looking to earth as a growing, evolving soul, it's kind of exciting to experience the heaviness of grief, hate, anger, like, oh, what's that? And so somebody in your soul family will hear you say that you want to learn about patience. And they'll volunteer, they'll put their hand up and say, great, I'm going to come in and teach you patience through impatience. And with that, they will come in with the soul contract to push your button until you learn that empowerment of patience in the human form. So it makes sense that doing some unconscious work there within hypnotherapy, coaching, past lives, we can resolve and dissolve that so you no longer continue to attract in that trigger. And so the next question I would go into within that process is to ask somebody, where do they feel that discomfort in the body? Like that client, it might have been like a kick in the guts kind of feeling. And that makes sense to me because often we hold fear just under the ribs. The next question I'm going to ask is, you know, what is the feelings there in that gut, that kick in the guts kind of feeling? What feelings are there? Does it bring up anxiety, fear, uncertainty, stress? How would you describe it? And then I want you to think about the problem and the associated feelings that the discomfort is bringing up for you. Okay, what's the pattern? What's the theme? What's going on? And then I actually want you to get in touch with that yuck feeling in the body, almost like talking to it, maybe even bringing it out and holding it in your hand. That yuck feeling there, as crazy as it sounds, and ask that part, what does it need? Now, 9 times out of 10, that part is going to need protection, safety, needing to be heard, needing to feel safe. And so when we unpack this a little bit more, we want to understand, you know, how is it holding you back? Like, is it not wanting you to speak up? Is it not wanting you to put yourself out there? What would be the consequences of moving forward? What's the worst case scenario? Because at the moment, that discomfort, that trigger is coming from experiences in the past, be it childhood, be it past lives. You may have just been wandering la-di-da in the world, and then suddenly the world got pulled out from underneath you. And then you've said to yourself, never ever again will I be unaware of what's around me. Never ever again will I be left to be so carefree that I don't see the potential threats. And it's in that kind of moment in the past that keeps you being hypervigilant, anxious, fearful in the future and in the now. So if we can understand what's happened to you in the past, what meaning did you put to it, how is it holding you back, and then to give that part what it needs, a sense of safety, sense of validation, you're able to start to learn what you need to and to be able to release that part, release that heaviness, release that fear. Because looking around you, you will find evidence that in this now moment, you are safe. You are safe, you are fine, you have the resources you need to move forward. It's important to remember that, like in that scenario with that client who had the manipulative ex-boyfriend, or boyfriend I should say, that she could not control what he was doing, but she could control how she would respond to it. So I would have encouraged her to be able to do the coaching, build her confidence up, and then to make a plan on how she was going to safely leave that relationship. Now, thinking about this has all come from a tarot reading. Like, this has all come from the Three of Swords. We've now been able to release her from the past, release her from her fears, and to being able to get her into a relationship where she feels adored. And so when that, chapter of her life had completed, we did another reading. And this is so, so important. When you clear somebody's limiting belief, limiting perception, somebody's fear, somebody's trigger, once they're no longer holding on to that in their energy system, they have now raised their frequency, which also means that they've jumped timelines. So on a high level, what that means is that it's time to do another reading, because the new future potential is completely different to what it was before. I find this so exciting, because in my coaching sessions, when I've helped somebody resolve a limiting belief, we do another card reading, and it's like we get that validation from the spirit world. It's like, yes. Be it the sun, be it the magician, it's like, yeah, this is exciting. We've just changed the trajectory of somebody's future. And so helping someone live a much easier life, manifesting the life that they want, feeling adored, feeling loved, feeling certain to move forward, is such a tremendous gift to give somebody. So when it comes to being triggered by the tarot, just take notice of what it is uncovering for you. You've attracted it for a reason, and it may completely change your life. I'm Claire from Be Your Purpose Coaching, and I will talk to you later.